Hi there, I'm meteorologist Robert Spetta. I want to start off this update by saying thanks to everybody who continues to support this channel, not only on our Patreon, but also just hitting that like and subscribe button. It really goes a long way, and the key thing is to getting the word out there about these storms. Not only Typhoon Mawar, also known, of course, as Betty here in the Philippines, but all the other weather systems we've been talking about for the last decade and a half here with our WestPacWx YouTube channel. Been doing this for a while. There is our typhoon, still well towards the east of Luzon, upwards of 1,000 kilometers. We've had some dry air inflow out ahead of the storm, reason why Saturday was actually kind of nice across Luzon, Taiwan, and even over towards Okinawa. But if we take a look at satellite imagery, like this scale here on the infrared, you can see that dry air filtering in. It actually is going through another eye wall replacement cycle. That's why it's really tight there. See how it kind of expands a little bit. But we do have the dry air. We have a little bit of shear acting in on this, and this is going to allow our storm to start to weaken. Now, it still is a super typhoon. This is still a dangerous storm. If it made landfall right now, it would be a bad day. But I mentioned it's 1,000 kilometers towards the east. It has that shear in the forecast and should stay off the northeast coast of Luzon. Look at the pressure now at 935 hectopascals. It bottomed them out at around 897, according to JTWC, making it, in the month of May, mind you, the second strongest storm on record. A lot of people were confused by my list last time. I do apologize for that. In the month of May, the second strongest storm on record. Storms like Haiyan, of course, were still stronger than this. And a key difference, too, Haiyan, also known as Yolanda, was making landfall when it hit its peak intensity. This is out over the open water. Thank goodness for that. All right, here goes our storm. Moving off here towards the north and west. Now it's going to bump into a high towards the west. Remember, we've been talking about this hook. We've been talking about it running around the high pressure towards the east and how that was going to be difficult to forecast. Well, the problem is it's just going to sit here and linger. That's why all these time codes are on top of each other for a few days. This is all the way out to Wednesday, making this Saturday night and Sunday morning. So this is Wednesday. It's still off the northeast coast of Luzon. And while that entire time is happening, we're going to see tropical storm strain conditions in places like Apari, over towards Santa Ana. If it shifts further towards the west, that would obviously be worse. The Batanes Islands, inflow coming in from the west, and then eventually turn towards the north. And now if it passes just towards the west of Naha, Okinawa, that will put you in the right front quadrant. Even if this is a tropical storm, that would be a bad day. If it comes and moves well towards the south, that would put you in the better side of the storm. But right now, most of the guidance actually kind of shifts it towards the north. But I'll show you in a second. The guidance, let's be fair, is a little bit all over the place after that hook north. Signal Force 1s have been issued by Pagasa well ahead of this. I'm happy for that. Do note, I've seen classes suspended as far south as Cebu and Manila. You're well away from the storm. You're more worried about that inflow, the rain. These are the areas where you're probably going to see those Signal Force warnings issued. Your problem, let's say you're in Manila. Let's say you're in La Union, Pangasinan. Let's say you're out here in Subic. These are the warnings you want to watch out for. Those red rainfall warnings. A general flood advisory has been issued for plenty of rivers across, especially the west coast of the Philippines. That's where the heaviest of the rain is going to be, thanks to that inflow starting down here. And then watch this Monday. Watch the inflow continue as our storm sits there. Tuesday, out across, of course, northwestern Luzon, all the way down through Region 1, down towards the south, as far south as Subic. Heavy precip. I think places like La Union, and I mentioned you already once, is because that's where you're probably going to see some of the heaviest rain. Those feeder bands coming through. The Cagayan Valley, too, for that matter. But the mountains, at least, are going to protect you just a little bit. But this is even all the way out towards Wednesday and Thursday. You still see that inflow all the way down towards Palawan, Mindoro, too. You get those feeder bands coming in. And eventually our storm, see the winds picking up there in Ishigaki, Miyakojima. Guidance still out for debate on how bad it'll impact there. It's not going to be a super typhoon. Remember, another look at what I'm talking about, that inflow. I like this graphic. You can really see how this just slams into the mountains here. The Cagayan Valley, northern portions of the river getting the impacts. And then you see the inflow coming around and just hitting the mountains up and down here. And all those rivers, coastal rivers, are really going to be swelling up here this week for sure, just due to that increase in the precipitation as that sets up through the mid part of next week. And then our storm, of course, turns back here towards the north, which the east coast of Taiwan could be looking at some pretty decent rains too, slamming into those mountains as well. The topography really does play a role. All right, ECMWF, GFS, that long-range guidance I was telling you about, looks like somebody just took a magic marker and went all over the screen here, all the way from the Batanes Islands watching here, where this could trend. It's been trending west or moving north. And even with the GFS is even worse because it shows that hook east, which gives us hope. But I think what we're going to see is this skirt the Batanes Island to pull towards the north or get dangerously close to northeastern Luzon. I know you're not in the cone of air. I'm still worried about the fringes of this storm impacting you directly, and I don't want you to let your guard down. Signal force warnings already in place is a good thing. Means that, a lot of people here are definitely going to be watching the storm and taking it seriously. Not that they haven't. We've been watching this for over a week now. When it was well towards the southeast of Guam, I think one of the most watched storms out here in the Philippines to Okinawa in some time, at least since Odette. Look at this, just taking its sweet time towards the north. I think this bigger picture really tells you just that dynamic of rounding the high pressure towards the east. So we got a lot to talk about here. For our friends in Okinawa and, the Philippines for that matter, know if you're in a hazard zone, especially with flooding, plan an evacuation. You can't really evacuate if you're in Okinawa. You're just there. Same with Taiwan. But, if there's shelters in the area, I don't think you're probably going to need the shelter in Okinawa. Just make sure you stay home inside a sturdy building. Don't forget your pets, animals, all those good things. 2, the waves, also another problem with this storm. Big swells coming out of here, shipping traffic. Definitely going to be a rough go. I was talking about this a few days ago. The Nimitz was heading out to Guam to help out with some relief. That was advertised to everybody. But typically those big aircraft carriers go with a bunch of other ships. Now, the Nimitz probably can handle these big waves. But boy, I feel bad for those small boys and everybody on board. That's coming from a Navy guy myself. Whew. 20-foot seas. Ugh. Even if they're long period swells. Not fun. Big thanks for everybody on Patreon. Garmin, you're a legend. Donates a good chunk of change to help keep us going. But everybody else, Typhoon 6 or $10 a month for our Super Typhoons, as we call them, our Patreon members. Or you can just hit that subscribe button because I really want to get up to 100,000 views. And don't go anywhere just yet. I'll explain to you. If we get verified with this channel in our community, then we can hopefully get ahead of all, the mainstream media that usually buries us during these storms as far as the YouTube algorithm is concerned. Get verified, we get pushed to the top. We put a lot of work into this, and I feel like this is more of a community than anything. I know I'm just some white boy here, talking about the weather out in Taiwan, Japan, of course, the Philippines and Guam, but I've been doing this for 15 years, worked on NHK World. You know what? Check out the intro video. I'll tag it at the end of this video. I explain my resume a bit more. For now, be smart, be safe. We're going to continue to watch the storm system and its impacts out here. And, thanks for watching. All right.